To be brutally honest with you guys, that was the game we were planning to start this show with, but some stuff happened before we started recording, and we're going to hit that off the top here as we get into game previews. And it's breaking news in case you haven't heard it. The late night Thursday night game, there were supposed to be 3 games on Thursday. There's now only going to be 2, as the Pittsburgh at Baltimore game has been moved to Sunday due to the Ravens having an outbreak of COVID that they have yet to get under control. And yeah, it's not looking good. The news broke at about noon Eastern, Wednesday ish. And the initial gut reaction from everybody from the Ravens side was, okay, it was very calm and controlled, and everybody was okay with it, basically because, it gives them some time to get healthy. And the Steelers, on the other hand, on social media, were very upset. In case any of you haven't been on Twitter yet, they were righteously angry, a lot of them using words I can't repeat on this show. And, rightfully so. I mean, their schedule has been really messed up by COVID instances this year, and not even from their own fault. I mean, remember the Tennessee debacle? Their whole schedule had to be rearranged. They had to take their bye week early because the Titans couldn't get it under control. And now they have to give up this primetime game on Thanksgiving because the Ravens can't get COVID under control. So the Steelers are very hopping mad right now, and that's a fun way to phrase it. And for the Ravens, this is kind of good because according to multiple reports, if the game had gone through on Thursday, they would have been without most of their offensive line, including at least their starting center and a couple other guys. So for the Ravens, it's a chance to get right and help them get healthy for Sunday. But it's just, I saw a couple Steelers players say this on Twitter that the NFL's COVID rules, they've just been hit or miss. They haven't been consistent. Because remember the Thursday night game a couple weeks ago between the Niners and the Packers, the Niners had to go out there without most of their starting lineup because they were all in COVID protocol, and the NFL made them play. Well, the same situation is unfolding in Baltimore, and they said, no, we'll move it to Sunday. We'll move it to Sunday so everybody can get healthy. And a lot of the Steelers players were pointing to that on Twitter and saying, what's going on here? This is complete BS. Could you guys at least keep it, consistent with what you're trying to do? And I agree with them. If anybody's been screwed by the COVID protocols this year, it's literally been the Steelers, despite their record. I mean, their schedule's been messed up so much by it. But I've ranted so much about COVID here because we really don't know if we're going to get this game this Sunday at all. And it's hard to really predict what kind of atmosphere it's going to be in Baltimore, or who even is going to suit up for the Ravens. So let's say we do get the game in the afternoon, like how it's scheduled to be now. I guess I would take the Steelers if it's to be played, only because we literally don't know what Ravens are going to be healthy for that game. But as of right now, the game that was supposed to be my perfect turkey night nap after I've eaten too much turkey has been taken away from me. And I'm very sad about it. And so are the Steelers. But if the game is to be played, I'm going to take the Steelers in Baltimore on Sunday, if that makes sense.
I think, Hayden, that the Steelers are only really upset because this is a division opponent getting a break, whereas they wanted to absolutely pummel them. I mean, they've gotten a long week now, or a regular week, versus having a short week, which they won't have. So, what's wrong with that? And the first time round, they got an extra. They had the Monday game instead of playing on a Sunday, which gave them an extra day to prepare for. I suppose, who was it that got flexed that day for the Tennessee game? I'm not really too sure, but I don't see too many negatives for this. They've just lost the Thursday night game, so I think they're only whinging because it's a division opponent. And to make sense of it all, I mean, we're not in week 4 anymore. We are in week 12, and there's those. I'd rather this game gets moved than we have to have an 8th playoff team because it's just. So I'm glad the NFL is just making this game go ahead one way or another, at least giving it a chance. And I think those other teams, I'm sympathetic for the 49ers, don't get me wrong, but we just need to realize what point of the season that we're at now, and we're trying to save it versus have to make up at the end of the year, because those rules originally were made for, if we have to have an extra week in January and all this kind of stuff. But as we get closer, we're almost through it. It's just, force one game through, and it might save a bit of a season versus a lot of hassle down the way, because I certainly don't want to see an extra week introduced and everyone, because what would Pittsburgh do then if they have to make this game up at the end of the year and they essentially lose their bye week that they've earned by being the number 1 seed? What are they going to be complaining about then, So just get it done now.
If anybody's to be complaining, it should be the Ravens, actually, because they have to play next week on Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. So they would have to play Sunday and then go into a Thursday night game immediately afterwards. So the Ravens' schedule is suddenly all up in the air as well. But it's just a sucky situation. But this is football this year. And like I said, if a game is to be played, and that's a key word at this point, if it is to be played, I guess I'll take the Steelers at Baltimore.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, they were supposed to go a Sunday into a Thursday anyway this week. So
Right.
it doesn't make 100% sense to me that teams are complaining like they are. The teams that have the real complaints are the 49ers that didn't get let off the hook, or the Raiders, you know. So
Yes.
I don't have too much sympathy for Pittsburgh sitting where they're sitting right now.
Right. Amen to that. So that's the big breaking news, that the Pittsburgh and Baltimore game has been moved from Thursday night football, which was supposed to be the main event of Thanksgiving, to Sunday afternoon.